Okay, everyone, thanks so much for joining. I'm really excited to talk to you guys tonight. And I am going to be speaking to the new people tonight, but also the old people. And I am an old person, and some of you are old people. You've been here for a while, you've been with Plexus for a while. But I really wanted to speak, especially to those of you who are kind of new to Plexus or new to sharing, or maybe you stopped and restarted, which is the story for a lot of people on our team. And we are going to be talking about your why. And if you don't know what that is, it will make sense by the end of the call. But even if you have been here a long time, like it's been 6 years for me this month, even if you've been here a long time, this is something that's really important to revisit frequently. And we don't often take the time to do it. So even if if you're an OG, like you've been here since the beginning, it's really, really important to revisit your why, because it is central to your success with Plexus. Like it absolutely keeps you grounded. And if you're new and you feel like unqualified to be on these calls, like, okay, a business builder call, what? Like, I don't even know. I'm just like new here. I just want you to know that everyone else here that has a team has started in the same place you are. Like we all started as a customer, trying the products out, and then grew from there. So you are in completely same company. We were all exactly where you were at. We all started with 0 people and maybe a little curiosity about doing Plexus as a business. And we all had a whole lot of fear when we were starting out. Okay. So if that's you, just know that it was me too. And everyone that you see that shares on here or has success with Plexus, we all started out scared and unsure and just a little bit curious about what this could look like. But the ones that are still here and have been here a long time and have achieved success are here because they have a solid why. And that why is, it's like a greater purpose in doing this work that really keeps you grounded, helps you get through difficulties and through challenges. Because there is a whole lot of failure in this kind of work. And that is how we learn and grow, is by trying new things and sometimes getting rejected and sometimes failing, but learning and pivoting from there. And you have to have a solid why to do it. It's really the only way you can be successful. Is to have a why. So I'm going to send in our 2023 chat a video by Simon Sinek. It's actually really old. It's from like 2009, but he wrote a really good book on like uncovering your why and how it affects leadership. And there's a TED talk that he did that is really insightful, and it explains like that your why is central to your success. It's what aligns your work with your passions, and it's what makes all the difference in your ability to attract others to your business. And he gives some examples. He talks about Apple as a corporation. He talks about Martin Luther King Jr., like what sets these people apart, or these organizations apart, that are super, super successful. And it's really that they have a strong why. It's not that their product is so amazing or their service is so amazing, their ideas are so amazing. Other people sell great things and other people have great ideas. But what makes someone magnetic and attractive and getting people to get on board with them is their why. Okay, so the reason we're focusing on this today is because if you have been on the past several calls, we've had a ton of how and what training, right? Like how to do Plexus and what to do. And all of that is really important, right? We want to know what we're talking about. We want to know about the products. We want to know what we're doing, but we really need to make sure we are centered on the why, because without it, the how and the what don't really matter, right? You could talk about Plexus all day till you're blue in the face, post about it all day. But if you don't know why you're sharing it, no one's going to really like resonate or like want to get on board with what you're doing. Okay. So we're going to focus on the why. And I have kind of 2 things I want to talk about. The first, why the why, number 1, is it's the only way you'll have people want to do this with you. Okay. So Simon Sinek, in this video that I'll send you, he talks about the magic circle, and he draws like 3 circles on the board. The little one is the why. That's the core, the how, and the what. And he explains that most people and most companies, they go from the outside in. They talk about the what that they sell, right? So for us, that would be like, here's all the product information, X Factor Plus, and it has aloe in it, and triplex, and candida yeast, right? Like all the what. And a lot of times when we start, that's what we want to know, right? Like, tell me all the what. I have to know all the things. And all of that is good and important. And we have the Go app for it, and there's product info sheets, like all of that you can find, all the what you can find. So we've got that. The how is like how we do our business, right? Maybe you're posting on social media. Maybe you're having in-person conversations. Maybe you're doing chat parties. There's all different ways that you can do Plexus. But sometimes we totally forget that we need a why. And when we go from the outside in sharing Plexus, no one really resonates. And I'll explain why in a second. The really, really successful people and companies go from the inside out. They know why they do what they do, and then the how and the what fall into place. Okay. So it's like the core, it's the center. People don't want to buy Plexus from you because the products are great, even though they are, and you have a website, even though you do. They want to buy Plexus from you because of the passion and the energy and the change that you can offer. And I love thinking of it this way. We don't just sell products, we sell solutions to problems. Okay, we sell solutions to problems. That's what people are looking for when they're scrolling social media. They're looking for solutions to problems. And that's when you buy something, is when it solves a problem for you, right? Like that's when that Instagram ad is like, okay, I need that. It's solving a problem for me. So when you think about social media, because it's just a tangible way that we talk about Plexus, this is why pictures of products with lots of detailed information don't typically do well as posts, right? It's all like the what. Here's everything that Plexus is. What? Again, X Factor Plus, all the things, but it doesn't resonate. But if we're talking about solutions and letting our friends and our family see our story and the transformation that we can offer, and it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be my whole life was, completely transformed by Plexus. It can be little things like I'm sleeping better. I can poop now. I don't need a nap, or my hair stopped falling out, whatever. Everyone has different reasons that they love the products and transformation that they've seen, even if it's small, right? For me, before I started Plexus, I would get done work, pick up my kids, park my van in the driveway, and close my eyes and in the van with the kids like screaming in the background, because I couldn't face the second half of the day without like 2 to 5 minutes of closing my eyes, right? Like I felt crummy. Yes, exactly. I felt crummy. I noticed when I started Plexus, I didn't have to do that anymore. I could finish work, pick up the kids, and go right into home and making dinner. And that was a transformation, right? Doesn't have to be like earth shattering, but when you share that kind of story, that is what attracts people to you. And that comes from your why. Why are you sharing Plexus? Okay. So it doesn't have to be profound, but here's the science behind it. And again, Simon Sinek, he does a better job explaining this, but he talks about the different parts of your brain and how they process information. And it is the center of the brain. And it kind of goes along with that magic circle, right? With the why being in the center. It's the center of your brain that controls decision-making. And it's not the part of the brain that like processes information. It's connected with emotion. Your emotion and your decision-making are in the same part of your brain. I believe it's called the limbic system or the limbic center of your brain. Again, watch the video. But when we're giving someone all the information, but they have no connection to our why, it's not going to help them make a decision to join us, right? It needs to be that they're feeling what we're feeling, or they're connecting to our why. So we think of our why as the core, followed by the how and the what. And when we're clear on the why, the how and the what, we can figure out. We can figure out how to share. We can help you with all the tips and all the things. And what, you can get educated on the products, but we have to have a why. Okay. So the number one reason it's important is this is really what's going to attract people to want to do this with you. And I'm assuming that if you're here on this call, you want to share Plexus, you want to grow. So you want to attract people to you. Okay. So that's the number one thing. Number two is your why is going to keep you grounded. It's going to keep you grounded. When things get challenging, your why is what's going to keep you steady. And I just want to normalize it that this can be difficult. It can be really challenging to build a business from the ground up, and to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and open yourself up to rejection, right? Like when you share with someone, they're going to say yes or no. And when they say yes, it's very exciting and wonderful. And when they say no, it can kind of hurt a little bit, especially if you're new and you're just like putting yourself out there. A lot of times you want to quit. I know many times along my 6-year journey, when things got hard, there were times where I felt like, okay, I want to quit, or I'm not sure if I'm cut out for this. But we want to normalize that, because it is hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would be here, right? Or everyone would stick with it. But that why is going to keep you grounded when you're tempted to be passive or throw in the towel, or when things get really hard. So when it is challenging, you come back to your why. When you want to quit, you come back to your why. When you fail, and you will, we all do in many ways, you come back to your why. And if your why isn't there, then you're like a house without a foundation, right? The slightest storm is just going to knock you down. And one of the saddest things I've seen is people that I know would be absolutely amazing at sharing plexus, and they're excited and they start, and then that first rejection hits. It's like that first storm wind blows, right? And it just absolutely shatters them because they didn't have a solid why. Okay. So we are actually going to work on writing our whys out. Maybe it's the first time for you, or maybe you've done this before and you just want to revisit it. I know that Victoria had some thoughts, but she walked away. So when she comes back, I'm going to circle back to her because she wanted to share some things with you as well. But okay, who here has already at some point written down a why? Like, I know why I'm sharing plexus. Okay, cool. All right. So most of us have. Even if you have, when's the last time you looked at it or read it or thought about it? Not July. Okay. Alicia, I love that you know it was July. That's hysterical. Right. For most of us, it's been a while. And for me, it had been a while. And as I revisited mine, I had to make some edits. But Victoria, before we hop into that, I wanted to just pause because I know you had some thoughts you wanted to share too. Are you still okay to share?
You're good. I think
Okay.
you've covered it. I think you've covered it.
Did I really? Come on.
Listen, give me a second.
Okay.
You just at the end.
Yes. Okay. You just interrupt.
You're good.
You interrupt me when you're ready. I know Victoria had lots of amazing thoughts, but she's also had a very challenging parenting week. So I feel you, girl. Okay. So let's work through your why. I'm going to give you just some thoughts, and maybe you can get your why written out now as we're talking. Maybe it's something you need to like sit and reflect on a bit. But it is important, guys. It's really important. So if you've never done it or it's been a minute, I really challenge you to work on your why. So your why is twofold. Okay. First is why plexus? Why should people purchase plexus from you? And the second is, why do you personally want to do this as a business? And working the business, it can be tied to personal fulfillment through helping others, or the desire or need for income. There's no like right or wrong with it, right? Everyone has a reason why they're like wanting to do this and are attracted to this business. So we kind of want to work through these thoughts about working plexus as a business. So here's a little challenge for you. If you have your phone or a pen and paper, you can do this. I want you to write down what would really make an impact for your family as far as income with plexus monthly. Okay. So what's a like monthly income? You're like, this would really bless my family, or I need this, I'm out of work, or I have, this gap in our income and I need to make it up. Just jot down what number would really make a difference for you. You don't have to share it in the chat. You don't have to say it. It's just personal. Okay. If you have that number, then I want you to just double it. Okay. Just double it. Just trust me. Just double it, because it's possible. Just so you know, it absolutely is. There's actually no income cap with plexus at all. They will never cap your income. So it's actually like limitless. Okay. Once you have that, and you may look at that and be like, there's no way. I just want you to know I pulled out notes from $6 million. Yes, I love it. He's got big goals. Okay. I pulled out notes that I found in an old book from a Super Saturday many years ago. And on that paper, I had written down what would be a life-changing income from my family that I never thought was possible. And when I, several years later, pulled it out, I was earning that with plexus. And it blew my mind to be like, wow, it really was possible. They told me it was, and it actually is. So I'm telling you, it actually is possible. Now, looking at that income that would change things for your family. Think about some ways that you would spend that money. Like what would that extra income allow you to do? And if you can think of 10 ways, make a list of 10 ways you would use that income. I'll give you a minute. You might find it difficult. I know when I first did this, I found it difficult. Some things might take you by surprise. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just checking the chat. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you didn't finish, you can circle back, but write down 10 ways that Plexus blesses us and others that are not financial. Okay. So not connected to money. What are 10 ways that Plexus is a great thing for you and for the people you're sharing with? Yes, Erica, I agree, right? The community, the support. Okay, these are easier, right? They just rattle off, right? Because we know like how special a thing we have here. Parties. I was like, parasites? What? Yes, travel, community. Yes. Okay. So support, right? Like people that help you stay on track with your health goals, the products, right? Like absolutely. So that part is easy. And maybe that's what you need to come back to when you feel some fear around sharing, right? Man, I feel scared to reach out to this person. I don't know what they're going to say. I'm opening myself up for rejection, but here's 10 ways I know Plexus has blessed me and can bless other people, right? That can be part of your why. That is actually very centering and grounding. And a lot of times when we go to start having conversations, it's just like fear stories, right? Like all of the fears just start like pegging us because our brain really wants to keep us safe. And when you're doing something new and sharing something vulnerable, it feels very unsafe. So your brain is like alarms going off, all this fear. You might even have a physical response of like getting like sweaty or hot or like, oh man, like did the temperature just go up? That's your brain and your body telling you like, this is uncomfortable, but it's okay. You have a why, you have a purpose, you have a reason that you're sharing Plexus. So go back to those 10 ways that keep you centered and go back to what this will do for your family if you're consistent. Yes, Mom, go ahead. I would love for you to share.
Just really quick, when we were in Israel a couple weeks ago, I had my cute little fanny pack, I had my charger for my phone, and I had my cool cup that kept my water cold every day. And everybody's like, "Where'd you get the cool cup?" "Oh, Plexus." "Cute little fanny pack, everything fits in there. Where'd you get that?" "Oh, Plexus." "Oh, you have a charger? That's a neat charger. Where'd you get that?" And it was Plexus, and it was May, June, July incentives. And I was just like, wow, this is such a cool thing just for sharing with 3 people each month. I had these 3 incentives, like share with people what you've earned because they were like, really? And then someone signed up with me from the bus trip. But
Yeah.
just like little thing, even little things like that.
Yes, that stuff is huge. Like how fun, like just to get a little gift in the mail is awesome. Like our company is so generous to even like you add one person, you get 250 perks. Like that's so fun, free products, right? Like nothing is like don't think it's too small to share or be excited about. Like those little things are actually huge. So I love that. Thanks for sharing. People do that to me too. They're like, "Oh, you'll buy everything Plexus?" I'm like, "Actually, all of this was free." Like they keep sending me stuff. So yeah, I love it. But anyway, as you're thinking about your why, it can be financial, right? It can be like, I need this business. This is a business. It's not wrong to think about how the income you're making could bless your family. Like that's certainly a huge part of the reason why I started sharing. And Victoria, I would love for you to share about like putting actual like names on things. So I'll come back to that in a sec, but also then have that list of here's why my family needs this or why I personally need this. And here's 10 ways that Plexus blesses me and others. And that can help you write a statement as to what your why is. But let me pause. Victoria, can you share that? Because when you mentioned it earlier, I thought it was so good.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So a few years ago, somebody, a coach told me, well, it was a couple of years ago, that when you think about your why and like the list that Brittany was talking about, like the list of 10 things or whatever, put like give your money a job. So whatever you make with Plexus, start giving it a job. So for example, I'm going to give you my example. Like Chad and I always talk about that we want to be the gathering house. Like we want to be the house where people come, they can come as they are, they feel welcome. And one of those things is we're like, okay, we want to have a pool. Like anybody with a pool, they're the gathering house, right? So literally in my bank account, I have a separate savings account that's named the gathering place. So each month, stay here. Each month, I have a certain amount that goes to that account. So that way it's not just like money floating in or out. It's like, no, this, I have given my money a job. It has a purpose. It is tied to my why. And so, yeah, that just helps make it tangible, I guess.
Yes, I love that. And when Victoria challenged me to do that, we started doing that as well. And it can literally be $5. Like if part of your why is I want to pay for adoptions, then you make an adoption fund. And if you're pulling a certain percentage of your Plexus pay, if it's $1, if it's $5, who cares? Like it's going somewhere. You can see the fruit of your efforts and you can let it accumulate, right? Like it's so, so important. So definitely encourage you to do that. Like give your money a job, give it a name, and actually let it go to something, right? Like you want to see that Plexus is making a difference for you. And then as your paycheck grows and your business grows, you can expand and, have more things that are making an impact. So here's the question. Those reasons, financial and non-financial, are they worth committing to your business? When you look at those things, like this would really make a difference for my family. This would really make a difference for other people, all these, non-financial reasons. Is it worth committing to your business, pushing through fears and learning to be okay with rejection? Is it worth it? And if you actually sit with those things, 100%, you'll say, yes, it's worth it. Okay. So those are your why. Take those two lists and write them down as a sentence or a paragraph on why it's important to you to show up and to do this. And you want to read this every single day and come back to it when you're struggling or you're feeling defeated or you're ready to quit. Like we all get there. And I just want to normalize it. Like it's okay to feel that way. It's when you are building something from the ground up, you had better believe it's going to be hard and there's going to be a lot of struggle with it. Absolutely. But that why, it should be bulletproof and compelling, meaning like nothing is going to shake you from it. Because, sometimes I don't want to get up early every day. And if my why was, well, I'll just see where this goes. Or if someone's interested, then I'll tell them about Plexus, or I post occasionally, so that's enough. That is not going to get me out of bed at 5:30 in the morning every day to do my IPA, right? Like, forget it. I'm hitting snooze. That's not compelling, right? So if not to like make anyone feel called out, but if you're like, well, I just want to see where it goes, that is not going to keep you here for long. It's not. It has to be more compelling than that because the work is challenging. It really is. And it has to be a strong enough why to make you do the hard things. And the last thing I'll say about it is it has to have a pain point. And what I mean by that is like, what happens if I don't do this? Some of you, this will be really easy. For others, it'll be harder to think about. But for me, my pain point is that if I don't maintain full-time income with Plexus, then I will have to go back to work and I can't homeschool my kids. And that is really important to me. Like homeschooling my kids right now is kind of my number one priority, and Plexus fuels that number one priority, right? So my pain point is if I don't show up, if I quit, if I go out my back door that I have open, then I have to go back to work. So that gets me out of bed big time because it's very, very important to me. So as you think about your why, think about that pain point. Like what happens if I don't? Maybe it's just that, you know what? I felt stuck for a long time. And if I don't do this and make some changes, I'm going to continue to be stuck. I'm going to continue to be in the same situation. That can be a pain point, right? We don't want to stay where we're at. We want to see change. Or maybe you have a big goal to give financially to something. And if your pain point could be, if I don't make this happen, I'm not going to be able to do that. But think about your pain point. Okay. So that is your homework. You may not have time to do it all right now, but write down the 10 ways Plexus would bless you financially. Write down the 10 ways that it blesses you and others that are non-financial. Make that statement, that sentence, that grounding, bulletproof why, and then start looking at it every day, especially if you're newer to sharing, because it's when you're new that it feels extra hard. And the reason is that we all learn by failing forward. We all learn by making mistakes. So when you're making a lot of mistakes or feel like you have a lot of failure and you don't have the paycheck yet to like give you that positive reinforcement, it's just very uphill. But John Maxwell says everything worthwhile is uphill. Like anything worthwhile that you're doing, whether you're training your body physically, whether you are, overcoming spiritual hurdles, whatever the thing is, it feels very uphill at first. But the good news is, like Coralie just said, it does get easier. It's not always uphill. And as you conquer fear of rejection and fear of failure and all these things, you're putting it behind you and you're moving forward. And eventually, if you continue on and you stay grounded with your why, you're pushing a boulder up a hill. And then one day you get to watch it roll down. And what that means is you will have built a team that provides you with residual income that rolls on its own. And that's where some magic really starts to happen. But it does take that uphill, pushing the boulder, pushing the boulder, pushing the boulder. And it is hard work. That why will keep you grounded. So we've got 2 minutes left. Victoria, did you have any other thoughts? Things you wanted to share? I wanted to give you.
Honestly, I think that was so good. I would just say, like, maybe moving forward when you think, so like, I definitely think everyone go do this homework, but then we can think about, okay, well, you have your why, what's next? And talking about like, what are you willing to do and unwilling to do in order to like meet your goals that are supported by your why.
That's good. Yeah. I love that. So I would challenge you guys. We have, 3-part homework. It's really intense tonight, you guys. So I hope you're not sad you jumped on the Zoom call because we're giving you homework, but I'm going to send you the video. Okay. So you guys can watch it. If you still feel fuzzy about like, why is this important? I don't really get it. I will send you the video. It is old, but it's good. And you're going to write your why. That's homework 1, write your why. Number 2 homework, I'm going to encourage you to share it with someone. Okay. So share it with your spouse, someone on your team, share it with your sponsor who helped you to get signed up with Plexus, share it with somebody. Just tell somebody what your why is, because when you say it and speak it and share it, it's going to feel a lot more real than if you just kind of like have it in a secret notebook and it just gets like closed and you never look at it again, right? So share it with somebody. It might actually feel really emotional and that's okay. Get it out, share it with someone, and then start to think about what Victoria said. What am I willing to do to achieve this? And what am I unwilling to do? And it's okay to have things you're not willing to do, but you have to look at them, right? And say, do I need to change this and become willing to get uncomfortable in order to make this happen? Okay. We got a minute. Any thoughts, questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I will send the video link in our chat. You've got your lists. If you have questions on how to do this, or if you're just like brain block, like I'm stuck, I don't know how to do this, let's just chat one-on-one and I would love to help you through it. Okay. You guys have a wonderful week and I will see you next Monday. Bye.